everyone, I join you with another top 10 video today. I feel like you guys are enjoying these. I'm really enjoying these, so I'm gonna keep them rolling maybe on a weekly basis. And today the brand is gonna be Rimmel. I am extremely familiar with Rimmel. I really feel like this has been the year of Rimmel for me. I think it was earlier on in the year I rediscovered Lasting Finish. Yeah, I'm looking up on my phone. It was 8 months ago that I did the Almost Everything Was a Hit video. Rimmel is one of those brands. Like, I've got this little handful of drugstore brands where I feel like the prices have been kept low at true drugstore prices, and they're doing really, really good quality stuff. So I put Wet n Wild in that basket. I would consider Hard Candy to be one of those brands, and also Rimmel. Elf maybe to an extent, but I really appreciate how those other brands are doing actually some of the best quality, and the products are causing me to like make a comparison to something from another drugstore brand and then finding like, okay, well, it's just as good from Rimmel, if not better, and it's less. So really happy with the price point on everything. One thing about Rimmel is I feel like the accessibility varies quite a bit from store to store. I will generally, around me, I'm finding the best, most full Rimmel selection in a Walgreens. Walmart has it, but like I wouldn't be able to find Lasting Finish there. You can buy it on Walmart's website, but like why can't you just carry it in store? Also, I got my hair cut again. I'm like, Mom, I think I want it chin length. I want it to just go zhunk. We'll take it down at the end and see how it looks. Anyways, I just love Rimmel. They're loaded with gems. It's such a slept on brand. I feel like people should be jumping up and down over the various stud products in this line. So let's get to applying them. If you've never watched my top 10s yet, I've got two others. I did Elf and I did Maybelline so far. And I don't go through and go like up to the best #1 product. I'm just listing them chronologically as I would apply them on my skin. So the first thing I'll mention is the primer that I love from this brand. Not that I felt I had to pick a primer, but I do think this is one of the strongest things in the line, and it's the Stay Matte primer. Really good makeup primer. Get past the thought of, oh, matte skin, matte skin. Think of it as just like a smoothing primer that really evens out the whole feel of your complexion, and it's definitely not over drying. So this wears well on me with the Stay Matte foundation, but it also wears really well under Rimmel Lasting Finish. It's just white, and I'm gonna blend that all in. There were definitely some categories from Rimmel where I had to be choosy, some things I had to leave off of the top 10. And that tells me a lot about a brand. If I feel like there are a lot of products kind of fighting to be in it, and even though I'm naming 10, there's still more really good things, I think that's a sign you're talking about a pretty strong brand. But as you can see, I smoothed this on, and I can immediately tell like my pores seem smoothed out. My skin doesn't look like dry, cakey matte, but there's a nice smoothing, a nice evening of texture that's happened here. And it does claim shine controlling, pore minimizing, hydrating feel, smooth skin, and I would agree with all of those claims. So again, that's the Stay Matte primer, and then that brings us into product number 2, which is foundation. And my favorite foundation from Rimmel, and really one of my top drugstore foundations right now, is the Lasting Finish. It says it's got 25-hour wear, hydration boost, full coverage. It does have SPF 20 in it. I wear the shade Soft Beige, just like I did when this was sold in a little squeeze tube with some maroon detailing in it back when I was in my apartment. It's described as full coverage, lightweight foundation with a boost of hydration for great looking skin that lasts all day. I know I've gotten a lot of you guys onto this and you've loved it. You've loved how it gives beautiful coverage. It truly can last all day. It seems to not exaggerate texture problems. Another foundation that I do love from this line is the Stay Matte. That foundation, I like it, but I didn't include it in the top 10 just because I feel like there's maybe a few too many asterisks with that one. You know, like it's thick mousse-like. It squeezes out of the tube like Dream Matte Mousse, but a little more moisture in it, and it can give just the fullest coverage, and I think it's really good blended out with a sponge. But it might not be just for everybody's skin type. This is a more all-encompassing foundation that I think could be good for a lot of different skin types. So I'm gonna give myself a full pump of it. We love that there's a pump now, but this foundation has gone through some changes over the years. They did I wanna say like a breathable version or something, somewhere along the line. I felt like I hadn't used it for years and then realized, oh my gosh, Rimmel still has Lasting Finish, and guess what? It's amazing. I'm gonna use my little Profusion buffing brush. I've been really enjoying this one. It's a lot like a Real Techniques Expert face brush. Comes in a little trio that I'll link in my description under the video. Is it full coverage? I think that can kind of vary depending on the amount you put on. With a full pump, I feel like I'm approaching full coverage, and I could probably put on a little bit more and feel like, okay, yeah, that's full. You know what I mean? It's a little bit more of a chameleon foundation in that way. The Stay Matte foundation is more like the immediate full. But the way this looks fresh all day, that's a key thing about staying power. I'm not just interested in the product remaining on my skin and like, okay, I can still see makeup. I want the whole makeup look to look as much like I first put it on as it possibly can. And this is one of those foundations that can go there for me. I've got pretty normal skin right now, and this is just a good option. See how I've got it blended in? I have a matte primer underneath. You can still see that little like just slightly hydrated glow on top of my skin. I would never really describe this as a glowy foundation, but it is gonna just give that natural kind of look on top of your skin. I would say it leaves me with less glow than the Maybelline Superstay Skin Tint serum stuff. And with the price, it's like $7 or $8, so it's really hard to argue with this one. So primer, foundation, and then product number 3, I have to name the Multitasker Concealer. This really surprised me. I remember buying it. I was in a Walgreens. It was earlier this year. I wear the shade Sand, by the way. I spotted this and I thought, oh, I'll give it a shot, you know, another drugstore concealer. But it really has been good. I especially think it performs well when paired with Lasting Finish foundation. It's able to give that full coverage. If you follow Rimmel on TikTok, you'll notice they do a lot of promoting of this product, I feel. I think they should be promoting like Lasting Finish and various things, but it's this concealer that they're really trying to, I don't know, push out there. But I'm a huge fan. I'm gonna use my double-ended brush that I got from the TikTok shop set. I'm trying to think what I'd most compare this to. I think it's a lot like an e.l.f. Camo concealer. Really, really close to that coverage level. Kind of like the traditional version, maybe a little lighter than that. That's about how I'd peg this. You're gonna see it has beautiful coverage up on that under eye area. The shade Sand is really nicely brightening. You know, just going that phase up from where the foundation left me. Just blending. I love these little angles, the gently angled brushes here, hitting those key areas like around the inner part of the eye. It's absolutely terrific. I put it on and I think, how can I argue with this? I guess the thing I could say about it is that it's not offering a lot of extra hydration, yet at the same time, I'm putting it on top of a foundation that is definitely not over drying, so I don't end up feeling too dry, but it's not like hydrating camo concealer where you know you are really getting some extra juice with that. So very good, wears so well paired in with that foundation. My number 4 product has to be the Stay Matte Pressed Powder. Love this pressed powder. I've been using it for years. Creamy Natural, I think, is my best shade. Now, these little caps, they just lift off. Now, granted, it's $3 and change, but I wouldn't mind maybe a little bit more of a compact there. The great thing about this powder, I talk about it a lot, when you put a brush into it, it does not kick up a cloud, okay? You're gonna pick up some powder, but you're not gonna pick up so much that you're overwhelmed or so much that you become cakey looking on your skin. Like, you could go into this with a powder puff even. If you're like, okay, I'm gonna set my under eye and I wanna use that pressed powder, fine. You're not gonna get too much. You're never gonna show up with like that huge, massive bake with it. Not that I'm really concerned about that a lot of times because I do dust product away, but you know what I'm saying. It's a really terrific touch-up powder. It's nice if you want something to go in under your eyes because you just did lower lash makeup and you want that lower lash line to be set. I'm gonna go ahead and just use my little powder puff here. Set all over. It's not that I feel, oh my gosh, I really need to mattify. It's just, I know that when I set my makeup with some powder, it's gonna last even better all day. Look at this. I mean, are we getting doll skin? Yes. This might be the cheapest powder in the drugstore. So I feel definitely set in those key zones. And then if you want to just take a brush and really lightly go everywhere else, just so everywhere gets some powder, go for it. Don't worry, Rimmel's got a bronzer that's also in here. It's a really well-rounded brand, honestly, to check so many boxes. I think they sell this in just a translucent color as well, and I've found this one called Creamy Natural to feel like the most brightening, the most appropriate if I do want to set my under eye with it. So under eye, T-zone, that initial setting that you do on your face, it's great for that. It's a terrific touch-up powder. I would highly recommend it. You notice how we're just flowing through this and I'm not having to really skip steps. We're just going right down the list, like checking off every step. And it's not because I felt like, oh, I need to include that in the top 10 just because I want to use Rimmel for that step. If there's not a top 10 worthy product, then I'll be plugging something else in and taking a break and including what is top 10 stuff. But yeah, so far, this is all legit top 10. Natural bronzer. Been using this for years. I will never forget like Kaylee's makeup bag back when we did that video in the apartment, and Kaylee was a co-worker with me at the station and became just a best friend. And I loved like seeing what she had in her makeup bag, and then we like kind of revamped some of her stuff. And she was always using the Rimmel Natural Bronzer. This is in Sun Bronze. It's just a classic matte bronzer, okay? It's gonna be like your most affordable drugstore bronzer. So you're in Walmart and you heard people talking about L'Oreal Infallible Bronzer, and you look at the price tag and you're like, oh my gosh, but it's like 10 or 11, $12. I don't know what they're charging for that these days, but you know, it's a newer formula. Yes, it's nice, but you're thinking, gee whiz, I have a few other things I need to get too. I don't want to spend that much on one bronzer. You can confidently go over to Rimmel and spend like $3 and change on this and have the same kind of matte bronzer experience, okay? I'm just applying this gently around the hairline, warming up my skin a bit. You can totally contour with it. It's just a classic. Like, it's been around in Rimmel's line for so long. I mean, probably going back to the days when we were talking about NYC Sunny. Anyone? Anyone? I'm just very gently getting in here, contouring my cheeks. It's buildable, as you can see. This brand can be such a money saver, especially if you've got to establish a lot of quality parts of the makeup routine. And you're like, okay, I'm not just going in for one thing. I'm going in for several things, and I don't want it to amount to too much money. Look into Rimmel. I'm now taking some of this up a little higher on my cheek, just to establish a little more color right up in here, kind of where I might do blush, just lightly. Maybe sides of the nose, just a bit. Love it! Rimmel Natural Bronzer, great thing. And now we're on to number 6 in my countdown. And yes, Rimmel does have some new stuff. They have this Kind and Free range, which does include some good quality items. And they've got these little like blush, multi-stick, lip and cheek stick. It's good, but I feel like the most exceptional thing in this line blush-wise are the Maxi blushes. Maxi blushes are so good. We've got Third Base here if you want something shimmery peach with a golden sheen. A couple of strong matte blushes here in Wild Card. If you are interested in that reddish blush trend, this is like a softened red, okay? And then I also love Rendezvous. If you can ever find that, this matte berry can look a multitude of different ways. I'm gonna go for Wild Card today. It's so pretty. These are very strongly pigmented. I would put them kind of like on the level of the e.l.f. primer infused blushes with the stronger colors like this one and Rendezvous, because they're really just so strongly pigmented and they're full on matte. They give you that pure color kind of vibe. So I'm going into my brush with that. Now if I was thinking about blushes and then being like, well, those are good, but they're nowhere near as good as e.l.f., then I probably wouldn't have included them in the top 10 if I didn't feel like they could hang with other favorites. Look at this cheek here. Ugh! You see what I mean? Just a little product. I'm gonna have this blush for so long because it doesn't take a lot. I just kind of wedge my brush in there once. At first glance, I might see that and think, oh, it's like a really pigmented peach. But no, what it is a soft red. That's what this color is. Again, it's the one called Wild Card. So good. It is pure matte. If I wanted a little shimmer, you know, I could top off with Third Base. That one's a little softer, a little glow. It does totally show up on my skin though. I've worn it alone and been fine with it, but might put a little bit of that right in here. Okay, cool. Got a full cheek. We have been on a streak here. That's products 1 through 6. We had primer, we had foundation, we had concealer, powder, bronzer, and blush. And now we're finally gonna have to take a break from Rimmel. I'm gonna do something with my brows and then we'll come back for eyes. I did my brows. I used a little Makeup Forever skinny pencil and then the L'Oreal Brow Lamination Gel. I put Milani eyeshadow primer on, and then I do have a product in my top 10 from Rimmel for eyeshadow. And this one has really grown on me. This Magnifies Nude Edition. I feel like it is a very good palette to pick up if you're into that ultra natural look looking eye. It's plenty pigmented enough, but a lot of what's in here will just give you that softer eye look. But there is depth and richness. You got a couple cool shades over here. You've got this nice rich rosy color, deep brown here. Good matte and shimmer balance, but there's a lot of light. I feel like on camera this all looks like, oh, a big chunk of the same shade. It's all getting just a little washed out, but there are subtle differences in everything. They give you a little brush actually with a usable small brush that's almost like small pointed, okay? It's almost like that, and then a sponge tip at the other end. We're gonna create a great little look with this today, okay, my friends? I'm gonna first go into my basic matte. It's right here. It's just gonna be a soft little get your crease going type of shade. All right, this is gonna be everyday eyeshadow. That's what this palette is all about. Today is the girls' last day of school before they let out for Thanksgiving break. I'm shooting this on Tuesday. Uga hasn't had school at all this week. See how that's giving like a perfect naturally shadowed crease? Like if you wanted to do nothing else, but just wanted to look like, hey, I've got a little bit of a crease going on. It's almost like a really cool contour shade, you know? Blend it out as much as you want. I'm gonna blend it a little higher because that's just what I like to do for added lift. That's my way. And then we have a great little matte right here. These two are shimmers, just varying levels. This is a beautiful pearly shimmer with that white, but then like a stronger shimmer there. And then this next shade over is matte. So I'm gonna take that matte, kind of bone color, and just go over my edge. We had the best gloomy day yesterday. Anytime there's more clouds in the sky and it's not just full on sun, 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 you know what you see more of? You see more of the actual color of the trees. And you realize, oh my gosh, there's so much beautiful fall color surrounding us still. But it's kind of windy and spitting rain and I don't know. I just enjoyed the afternoon. And now I'm gonna skip all the way over to this matte here. This kind of like matte, dusty burgundy. Get a little of that. I'm gonna go right into the crease with it. You know, we're getting depth. You don't have to be scared of this palette also. You don't have to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be so overwhelmed with color when I put my brush in. I don't know if I can use that. You can use this, okay? I would say very beginner friendly with this one. See how this isn't giving like a lot of strong burgundy? It's just giving depth when you're applying it like this in the crease. I don't feel like I'm even trying that hard. Putting it where she goes. Blend as much as you want, upward and outward. A lot of times at this phase of the game, I go to this kind of plummy brown, but I'm gonna go to this one instead. This charcoal. Behold the pigment, the ease. I'm just tapping it on the outer part of my eyelid. It's a satin finish, actually. Oh guys, the other day I did the smoothest looking matte eye, just staying with the mattes in the Huda Icy Nude palette. I did a post about it on Lemonade. I transferred that post over to TikTok because those two apps are kind of connected. They're like, do you want to post this to TikTok? Oh, okay. There's that. I'm going to take a little bit more of that shade. Just like let it become a bit more dramatic. How did I intro this palette? This can be soft every day, but allow me to show you how it can be the most dramatic. The act of working in this second to the end color. It's your drama shade. Oh, I love it so much. Like, it's just so easy. I got a thing for ease in eyeshadow. And then I'm taking my Profusion crease brush with nothing else on it and just, you know, gently working that edge. Did I actually get in my crease over here though? I don't think I did. It just looked that way. Now, our options for like a little lid shimmer, we've got beautiful taupe. We've got soft gold, we've got rose gold. I kind of like this shade right here that I would call soft taupe. And I'm going to apply that to my inner lid. See how that's coming in with just a little sheen there on the center of the lid? And it's not a loud shimmer. None of the shimmers in here are gonna be so frosty and unmanageable. It's a very classic kind of palette. And then I love this pearly shade right here at the end. Little inner corner brightening, subtle brightness. Yes. I also want a little lower lash line stuff going on. I'm going to take the soft murky burgundy and small pointed brush. And it's probably got a little bit of that charcoal shade on it too, but that's okay. Just gently, softly hitting that lower lash line. This palette can do everything from a semi-smoky eye like we've got going on right now to just a barely there. Really soft, like a little bit of that in the crease and that in the crease, and pick a shimmer for the lid and you're done. It's got good range, it's beginner friendly, it's not overwhelming. I enjoy it very much.
Oh, hey, pumpkin spice.
And then you've got your Stay Matte powder on hand still, so you can just hit right under what you applied for a little staying power help, right? Okay, I just did a little black liquid liner across the upper lash line. It was just enough time for a cat to get right there. Don't eat my garland, don't eat my garland. And then we're gonna move on to, where are we even at in this countdown? The Magnifies Nude Edition, that was number 7. And number 8 is actually the Kind and Free mascara. So I mentioned this Kind and Free line. What does it have in it? Eyeliners, the mascara, some blush sticks, have like a brow gel wax thing, just some various stuff. And this says clean, volumizing, and conditioning mascara with organic shea butter, contains 99% of ingredients of natural origins. I really like the volume that this builds up. It's a classic looking brush that has, I don't know, a couple sparse areas that are just product. So it's good about being able to build up your lashes pretty quickly and not come out too clean. You know what I mean? So I'm just gonna curl my lashes and put that on. And yeah, I don't think I've ever had a mascara that I've loved so much from Rimmel. This is definitely among my drugstore faves right now, for sure. And after this, it's gonna be 2 different lip products that I enjoy. And there were definitely others I could have included. Rimmel is a pretty strong brand all around because I'm able to find complexion stuff that I absolutely adore, eye stuff that I love, and lip stuff that I love with other items to spare that could have made it, you know? It's crazy. Why are people not just falling down over Rimmel? Kind and Free going in. One coat is going to be kind of your defining coat, but you can see with a second coat, that's your building coat. I like that it doesn't chunk my lashes together. It doesn't make me look like I have fewer lashes. It actually takes what I got and it makes more of it. We got 2 coats. It's thick. It's lengthening out. Is this something I'd put on the lower lash line? No. Very few things would I put on my lower lash line. So I kind of stick with Cali Ray or some definite tubing mascara I put down there. You know what mascara this sort of reminds me of? Lash Paradise, with the fluffy kind of accentuating all lashes type of look. The other day Belle saw me after school because I had my haircut and she's like, okay, Julianne Hough. Not that I look anything close to Julianne Hough, but we do have the same hair length, I think. Oh no, I've made a mess in 2 different spots on this eye, but it'll dry and I can flake it away. Rimmel Kind and Free. I mean, I'm not just trying to come up with things to use. I'm putting the things in the top 10 that I really think are good. And she's good. Flake away my mistakes. Just a little spoolie will do that. I'm gonna put on a little lower lash mascara. Look what I did. I put on lower lash mascara and I popped on a little half lash. I hadn't used false lashes in a while and I wanted that extra little glam with this. You know, holiday season, I'm wanting to do kind of a fun holiday look. So that's just my half lash from Amazon. I'll link them below. Hopefully they're still available, but they're very, very easy to just pop on. My number 9 product, first off, I've got a lip liner and a Longwearing lip color that are making it into my top 10. I could have very easily put in the Lasting Finish lipsticks and also the Stay Glossy lip glosses. Like, those are really good too, but I feel like these lip liners, these Lasting Finish lip liners, I think they're kind of a newer thing, at least sort of a redone thing in Rimmel's line. These are very, very good. Extremely long wearing. You can really count on them. I've got a couple of good sort of natural shades. One is Cappuccino. I think of that as a cool brownish color. And then I also have 90s Nude. I'm going to swatch both of these. 90s Nude gives you that warm kind of toasty nude, and then there's Cappuccino with the cool brownish lip. These can be great partners to so many looks. I'm going to throw on the 90s Nude for you just so you can see it go on. They're classic sharpenable pencils. They don't just slip onto your lips the way an e.l.f. Cream Glide does, but they have way more staying power than e.l.f. Cream Glide. So this is what 90s Nude looks like. I always like that one. Makes a great little base and then just pop a gloss on top. And then my number 10 product, the last product in my countdown, Rimmel Provocalips. Such a great 2-step Longwearing lip color. These are gonna feel super comfortable on your lips because you put that top coat on after this part has set. It wears super well, and this is kind of a liquid lip balm consistency. It's not the straight up gloss that some products like this have had, and it's not the slippery balm like CoverGirl Outlast. It's richer and it just feels really good on your lips. So I've got a couple shades here. I have Heartbreaker, which is kind of a soft red, and then Summer Lovin', this medium neutral shade. Which one do we want to do? Maybe in the spirit of holidays, let's do Heartbreaker. Okay, so you got your first step. It's going to be really thin. I'm just going to leave my lip liner on. I don't think it's going to interfere, but you definitely don't have to have a lip liner for this. This is like a one and done lip product. See how pretty this reddish shade is? Not too strong, you know? Okay, now you're just gonna hang out for a bit and let that get dry. While I was waiting, I actually applied a little more bronzer, and now this is feeling nice and dry to the touch. We're gonna take that top coat, which is just unmatched as far as top coat two-step lip products go. And it's not gonna make your lips like outrageously shiny. It's gonna make them look like a cream lipstick finish, sorta. But it feels so rich and luxurious. And if you just keep that stuff on there, if you let that be your little touch-up thing throughout the day, you're gonna be so happy with the way that lasts. It's gonna be super duper even. Even if you miss out on touching it up, it's still gonna wear incredibly well all day. Look at this glam. Look at this Rimmel glam. I'm gonna take the hair down. Absolutely nothing done to it, but I like it to look a little bit unstructured, you know, kind of wild and free, kind and free. But there's my finished look. I'm so happy with this Rimmel Top 10. I mean, we were just overflowing with good options here. The complexion stuff, the lasting finish foundation is just elite. That's a tip-top fave, I feel like. It's really hard to like go through and select one thing above another because these are all really the top things. I really love the way that eyeshadow turned out too. Great lip color. It's just all working for us, friends. So thank you for your time today. I would love to hear of any other favorites that you have from this line. Share in the comments section, and also request the next top 10 video. I will see you again soon. I love you. Bye.